Welcome, readers. Today on Book Chat, we are continuing the 3 Book Bloggers, 1 Series read-along. We're discussing the 5th book in the Night Huntress series, This Side of the Grave by Janine Frost. Stay tuned. Today's episode is brought to you by the Shelf Addiction merch store. Check out all the bookish t-shirts, notebooks, mugs, and more. Don't miss out on these original designs, perfect for any book nerd. Support the podcast and visit shelfaddiction.com/merch and pick up your next favorite bookish item. Hey everyone, I'm your host, Tamara Ford, and welcome to Book Chat here on the Shelf Addiction Podcast. Participate in this book discussion by joining the Facebook group Shelf Addiction Official. Talk about the series with us there, as well as other bookish topics. I hope to hear your thoughts on this book discussion, and as always, you can find the 3 of us on Twitter and Instagram. The links for everything I've mentioned are below in the show notes. If you enjoyed today's episode, please support this podcast by sharing it with some book nerd friends or on your favorite social media space. That will really help me out, and I appreciate you for doing so. The uncut video version of this podcast is available now on Patreon. Join us there for exclusive videos, including this podcast after show, where we get even more candid with our opinions. So if you're at all interested in that, you'll need to come on over to Patreon and sign up. Before we get started, I have to issue a spoiler warning. This is a roundtable book discussion, so nothing is off limits. You've been warned. We've got a fun hour ahead of us, so let's get started. Welcome, readers. Today on Book Chat, we are continuing the 3 Book Bloggers, 1 Series read-along. We are discussing the 5th book in the Night Huntress series, This Side of the Grave by Janine Frost. So let's do a thing, guys. We have so much to get into. And of course, my 2 co-hosts are here, Casey and Nicola. Welcome back, ladies.
Hey, everybody.
Hello.
Yes, and so we are going to jump right on in. But before we do, we're going to go ahead and give you guys the details on the book. So Nicola, please run down the book stats for us.
Will do. So this book is published in February of 2011 by HarperCollins. It's 388 pages, and if you prefer the ebook, that is narrated by Tavia Gilbert, who I think has done the whole series, and it's about 9 hours, 28 minutes long through Blackstone Audio.
All right, Casey, the synopsis, please.
Danger waits on both sides of the grave. Half-vampire Kat Caulfield and her vampire husband Bones have fought for their lives as well as their relationship. But just when they've triumphed over the latest battle, Kat's new and unexpected abilities threaten to upset a long-standing balance. With the mysterious disappearance of vampires, rumors abound that a species war is brewing. A zealot is inciting tensions between the vampires and ghouls, and if these 2 powerful groups clash, innocent mortals could become collateral damage. Now Kat and Bones are forced to seek help from a dangerous ally, the Ghoul Queen of New Orleans herself. But the price of her assistance may prove more treacherous than even the threat of a supernatural war, to say nothing of the repercussions Kat never imagined.
Okay, book 5.
Drama.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. And of course, for those of you in the Facebook official, Shelf Addiction Official Facebook group, please let us know what you thought of the book. Let us know all the feelings and how you rated it. We want to know what you guys thought as well. So let's get going, guys. Let me before you guys are like, man, Tamara's a downer. Let me just say, y'all know I love this series, but for me, I feel like this just wasn't, this installment wasn't doing it for me like it normally does. So I wasn't as happy-go-lucky as I was reading. I was kind of bored. And I know it's almost shameful to say.
I think that might have been me for the last book. And I don't think it's really the book. I think it's the, and I'm not going to blame it on the shelter-in-place orders or anything like that, but just sometimes you're just not in the mood for that particular book. So I thought I enjoyed this one. So I liked it, I think, better than the last one. So
I'm kind of with you, Tamara. Like, it's Cat and Bones, so I love it. but it's also really slow and kind of boring.
Oh no!
Please don't hate me. It's just that there was...
Don't come for us, please. Don't. We still love it. Don't come for us.
I know. No, it's just that, she usually has like 3 or 4 plot lines and things going, and there's so much tension, and every time you turn around, there's something insane happening. And this time it was just kind of like, oh, well, here are these dead vampires, and let's do lots of talking and research, and let's do some more stuff here, and la-di-da there, and oh, more dead vampires.
Yeah.
Like, it was slow.
But you've got the Dawn storyline.
That you
the
really
uncle?
forget about it, and it's like...
until the end, and then you're like, oh, yeah.
And then it's this big twist, and you're like, oh, yeah.
Oh, no, those emotions wrung me out. I don't know about you guys. All her feelings about her uncle being so ill, and him sort of participating in their wedding ceremony in a second.
I mean, I definitely cried. Like, no, it was sad, but...
No crying over here, but it was sad. No crying. No tears, but it was sad.
But as a plot, like Cat and Bones, they usually have several things going, and everything gets tied up.
Right. And it's the things that you guys complain about every time that that they keep going off on their own and not telling each other about stuff. And this time it was right on the page. Like, I could do this. This is what I would usually do, but I have grown and I am not going to do that.
I'm so
and now you're like,
her.
oh, this is boring.
Yes. But also, if there was more for them to fight... The bad guy turned out to be this like limp dick little nothing.
I know. He's yeah. Well, we got to see Veritas again.
Yeah, I like, and I'm telling you, the first time around, it didn't dawn on me that she kept showing up. I feel like it didn't, and now I'm like, oh my gosh. Here she is again.
And she's a badass, right?
Yeah. And Ian's even like, hey, who has some wood over this chick? Because that's what Ian said.
Oh, Ian. That's so
and
Ian.
I was like, makes sense.
He's got it hard for her, and he doesn't even know, like, the whole deal yet.
I don't either. I need to read that book. I want to now.
I need to read them too. But, it was... But I love Cat and Bones, but this book just didn't do it for me.
Yeah. I did think it was interesting, like how we started off. We kind of got that whole introducing us to Cat's new problem, which is too much of Bones' blood, because she just can't deal with all of the mind reading just happening anytime, any place. Like that would be a dreadful thing to happen. Like, you could be fighting, and then all of a sudden you hear like 30 voices.
It's not uncommon in paranormal stories, right? You have to learn how to filter things out. Put up barriers.
Which is unfortunate for Bones, because we know he only wants her drinking his blood. But you gotta have to get over that, dude. You're gonna get over it.
Well, she's gonna end up... I mean, I'm not saying this with knowledge of the future books, but if I were reading this book for the first time, I would assume that she would figure out how to handle it eventually and be able to only drink from him.
But in this book, well, who was it? She got blood from someone else. When
Juan, I think?
Yeah.
Not Juan.
She
Cooper,
wanted
maybe?
one, but it was Tate.
Tate, yeah.
It was Tate, because that annoys me. So that's why I remember.
Tate.
Yeah, she's like, I need someone, no offense, but I need someone weak, so...
Right.
Not as strong as him. So
Tate, you're up.
You're up, dude.
No, she wanted one, and Tate was like, no, if anybody's going to spill blood on this team, it's going to be me.
Oh, God.
And she's like, oh, I'm sorry. You're weak. And he's like, yeah, don't pity me. I'm just spilling blood because that's what I do.
Do you guys remember... Do you guys remember on Seinfeld where Jerry's like nemesis was that guy Newman? And whenever he's just like this, he was similar to the bad guy in this. He's just this nerdy little rotund mailman or something. And every time they meet in the hall, they have this like face off, and I can't remember what Newman says, but Jerry always goes, Newman, in this very like, and I picture you, Casey, every time Tate comes on the scene. I picture Casey going, "Oh, Tate."
That's basically what happens. Is as soon as he shows up,
you got it.
Yeah.
Tate is like, I don't know what it's going to take for him to get back in my good graces. I just feel like he is kind of the worst. And like, not even on purpose. He's just is.
Yeah. No, unless there's a spinoff series that completely redeems him. Yeah, no,
I could see that happening. He's had a strong enough character, and he's got a strong enough characterization through the series to.
Oh, he definitely could, but I don't know if it would be enough to redeem him. But that's the only way he could be redeemed at this point. Because after reading the whole series, no.
I mean, I've never hated him like you guys hate him, but I think in this book, for those readers out there who haven't already decided that he's the worst ever, I think this is the book where he turns around a little bit and he's really, the author tries to show that he really gets it now. That after she left with Vlad, I think it was like, just because Bones is there doesn't mean you're second in line. Like, if Bones were gone, you would still not be in line. And I think he really gets that now. And I think that was the purpose of his role in this book. So
pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, I think he does get it. It seems like he does, but that still doesn't, for me, negate his assholery. So
yeah.
It took him a long time. Hard-headed. It took him a minute, but he seemed like
5 books later, 5 years, whatever bullshit. No.
I mean, he turned into a vampire for her, basically. Seen your whole life.
I thought he turned into a vampire for the job more than
lies. That was secondary.
It was really for her.
He knew he didn't have a chance against Bones if he was human.
Yeah.
I think you guys are reading a lot.
No! Mom's called him out on this in the 3rd or 4th book.
He did. He said, don't do this for the wrong reasons, because you'll never have her.
Yeah,
that's true. And Tate was like, whatever, I'll get her anyway. And then, in book 3, when they thought Bones was dead, Tate tried to move in and she almost killed him.
Yeah.
She had the knife to his heart and was like, off. Yeah, no. Tate would have totally moved in. He turned into a vampire for her. He's an asshole. I hate him.
Alrighty then, moving on.
Nicola's like, okay, we've beat up on my boy enough. Let's move on.
I don't love the guy. Don't get me wrong. I'm not gonna he's not a book boyfriend or anything. I just don't feel that horribly. So.
Well, speaking of the team, were you guys surprised by the new member?
Kind of, but then it just kind of... so there's not much happened there. But
who's the new member? Oh, her mother?
Her mom, Justina. Now that she's a vampire, she joined the team.
I was kind of like, oh my God, what is she doing? Okay, what is she doing now? Like, she tried it, but... She's clearly a horrible cadet. She don't follow instructions, just like her daughter.
Well, it's interesting when you turn somebody, like, the age thing kind of goes away, right? Because you wouldn't think of a 40 or 50-year-old woman as being like let's go into combat, right? Like, no, that's for no. But so that it opens up interesting possibilities. I think I don't know. I thought that was kind of. That's what it made me think about. It was like, if you all of a sudden didn't have the same kind of view of your life decade by decade, and now, she and her daughter are essentially equals physically, or could be with training.
But I feel like sometimes that's why I ultimately think that Justina could be the best kind of vampire, because after your middle age, you've learned so much. You've kind of gotten your personality is there, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you turn around and you instantly have this 20-year-old feeling body.
Yeah.
Okay, you can do all these things, and you're not the dumb-witted 21-year-old running off at the mouth and not understanding how things work. So I just feel like that would be the perfect balance. Like,
start a little older, but you feel and look young.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
They say that youth is wasted on the young, right? Well, here's how you fix that.
Yeah. Like, as long as when I turn, I can choose that 22-year-old body that I had.
Right.
Let's suck it back into there.
Because in some mythologies, you're locked in at whatever age you are when you're turned, right? It feels like in this one, you kind of like revert to your physical
part,
I guess.
Yeah.
So.
Which I'm down for that way. So whenever I was at my best, and, I look the best, I'm the strongest, the cutest, the hottest, all that. I can turn me at 50 if I care. 60, do it. As long as I can go back.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever watch the movie What We Do in the Shadows?
Yes.
They turn a woman at the very end, but she's 93 and she stays 93. She doesn't look any younger.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
But she's expecting it, right? I mean, they didn't tell her that she'd get younger.
No. She knew she'd stay 93.
Yeah.
Okay. They make a joke about her age and being so young because she's like 3 times younger than the man who turned, or the vampire who turned.
That he's in love with her. And
yeah. No, it's really
I don't think I'd want to live forever with an 80, 90-year-old body.
But you wouldn't feel it, though. You just
would you?
It. I don't think you would feel it because vampires are strong, despite if they're thousands and thousands of year old.
It depends on the mythology, right? So, I mean, if you're not in pain, then why wouldn't you revert to if you're not like, if you've got all the physical characteristics of whatever age you are, why wouldn't it also include aches and pains? I don't know.
Anyway.
But yes, it's a funny show. It's nothing like Cat and Bones, but it is
nothing. It's so good. It's so good.
Well, I guess that's kind of the fun of like these type of fantasy books, is that the author can really make it whatever she or he feels like making it. And
there's so much variation, and if you like the Christine Feehan ones, they have that thing where they have to like be on Earth or underground at night or something, they have to go to ground or whatever. Most of the modern paranormals skip that because it's kind of gross, but
as long as you're not sparkling, I'm fine with it.
That was my favorite quote from the book, from this book.
Yes.
So if you follow me on Twitter, I took a screen cap and posted it, but there's a point where they let Timmy the reporter in on the fact that vampires exist, and he's like, "Oh, there's one more thing that I want to know if fiction got right," And Bones looked at him and says, "If you ask me whether I sparkle, I will kill you where you stand."
See, that was another plot line that got started and then just dropped off. Like, Timmy needed help finding his girl space, Nadia. And that was just kind of done totally off page. And yeah, she's fine and everything. Like,
I assumed that was a setup for something in the future, because like by the time Mankiras came back with that information, like everybody even on the page was like, who? What was that about again? I don't remember.
Which is so not typical of Kat. Like, she usually, as soon as you tell her somebody's in danger, somebody's missing, she does everything she possibly can to find that person, no matter what other big shit's going down. And so I thought it was a good nod to, like, who? What? Who are we looking for? But, in any other book, she's usually trying to hunt on somebody. She's like, oh, this person who knows this other person needs my help, and I have to help them right now because that's who I am. I help everybody.
Maybe it's
what? Why come back?
Maybe it's a character evolution. She's learning. There was a fair amount in the book about understanding what it takes to really be in charge of the whole vampire family,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Poor Timmy, though. Learning. Can I just say, he always has crushes on, like, the wrong women, the unavailable women.
Timmy's a non-entity. I don't care about Timmy.
I would have been okay if I never saw him again. I thought it was like, why? And there should have been more to it for him to just show up. I don't know.
I would agree that bringing him back seemed kind of pointless.
Yeah.
Or it petered out without
crumbs in the first couple of books that we picked up on. But no, like he just appeared and then he was never back on page. And again, like it's set up to be a typical Cat and Bones book, but it just petered out. And that's why it was boring to me. Please don't kill me.
But one thing that wasn't boring to me, and I feel like everyone and their mother yips and woos over chapter 31 or whatever that was.
Chapter 32,
thank you. I mean, but I feel like the sex scene in chapter 21 in this book was pretty damn good. I'm like, that was really good. And I'm like, I like this a little better. I just feel like I liked it a lot.
I felt like this one was slightly more detailed because the last one, like, he just bit her and she screamed for hours and, like, that was it. And then he's like, we're going to keep going.
Yeah. I feel like this was more like she was like, hey, I'm running this show. Let's do it. And I was like, yeah, let's do it. I'm like, no one is saying chapter 21. I'm like, oh man, there was
not everybody makes it to book 5.
Oh, well, they was tripping because they need to read more because this was a really good scene.
I may have skimmed a little bit. I was on a deadline when I was reading.
Should we go?
Okay, yeah, they're doing it. Okay.
Sex scenes at some point.
Say again.
I said, should we go through and rank all of their sex scenes at some point?
That would be a fun bonus.
Chapter 32 actually lives up to the hype.
That would be a fun bonus podcast, Tamara.
Yes, I think we should just plan on it when we're done because I feel like that would be a really fun discussion.
Yes.
And I just think to me, this wasn't humdrum sex. It wasn't like, oh, they're having sex, next. I felt like, oh, what?
I'm just picturing my Kindle searches right now. So.
Yeah.
This was her first time really like stepping up and taking charge because as she said in the scene, she usually just like goes with it and he's in charge because he's been doing this 200 plus years. So he knows how to touch her and get her off and like, it's good. But she's like, nope, this time I'm in charge.
Which made this, I think, even more fun. I feel like that's why I was like, what? This is awesome. I love it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Girl power.
Yeah, hell yeah. Shoot. Okay, so what did you guys think about Dave as the spy in Apollyon's group? Do you think that was like a good use of Dave or did it kind of not matter?
I think it did anything.
Yeah, I think it was strategic, but there wasn't a lot on the page. Like, we didn't follow him into the camp and see what he was seeing or anything like that. So I feel like maybe now you guys are dragging me into your viewpoint here. I feel like maybe we could have seen more from his point of view of what was happening. Although we don't ever get anybody's point of view but Kat in these books. So she would have somehow had to go with
We
him.
get Bones in a novella at some point.
Right, but not in the books, right? The only way would be to have Dave report out more regularly or the ghost come back and do more detailed reports.
I mean, the author could have snuck it in by having Dave like do some secret phone calls to Kat or something. Yeah. Like he didn't need to show his face, have this whole conversation with everybody, but we could have got some side, info. Yeah.
Because it was just, okay, he's going undercover. Okay, he's doing something stupid. Go save him now.
Right.
He's talking about sacrificing himself. You guys stop him. Like, why? What the hell's going on exactly?
Yeah, what?
I guess I really liked all of the Marie Laveau stuff and the plot line with the ghosts and the remnants. And so that carried it for me. But I would agree that it would have been more exciting to know more about what was happening with Dave's storyline there.
Yeah, I did like the Marie Laveau stuff. That scene where they first went to see her and she was like giving Bones the business and making Kat drink her blood. Oh my God. I'm like, oh, don't do it. Drink her blood. But she needed to. It all worked out. It's like her evil plan came together. Like, you took care of my arch nemesis for me.
Yeah. Marie Laveau is a tricky one, right? Yeah. She gives, and I can't remember if she shows up again in the series, but but she's like, you think she's an enemy, and she does not sugarcoat anything, but when you get to the other side, you realize that she's giving you everything you need to win your battle, and just coincidentally help her out too.
Mm-hmm. I think she's the type of character where, as long as your interests align, she's gonna back you, and she's gonna help you, even if she has to do it in a roundabout way. Mm-hmm. She's not just gonna tell you, but I do think she will change on a dime. She will pivot like, whoop, whoop, nope, not that way.
I think she likes Kat. So you want to talk about girl power. I think that she's very, I think just the fact that Kat is female gives her some standing with Laveau. And that she's
not just female, but kick ass. And like, she's Gregory, and she's killing her enemies.
She killed her husband.
A woman in a position of power, right?
Yes.
So she's a woman in a position of power, which I think Marie has an interest in supporting, even if she's not going to be, oh, we're sisters. She's going to look out for her a little bit, but always in a way that she can claim plausible deniability, right? Yes. So I think Marie is always going to be supportive of Kat, but always in a way that she could like get out of it if she had to.
Mm-hmm. She's not going to advertise that they're friends at all.
Right.
And she's going to be like, you're my secret friend. And if anyone asks me, I'll deny it.
But it's different. It's a matter of giving up. She'll do it in a way where she doesn't have to cede any power of her own. Right. Mm-hmm. So she's always keeping the upper hand, and I
was going to add, I think she's more ruthless than Menkeres, and also a bit more, is devious the right word? Because he very much plots and plans and moves people the way he wants them to move, and that's exactly what she's doing. Because she wanted Kat to kill Gregor, so she set that up so that could happen. She wanted Kat to kill Apollyon here, so she set that up so it could happen that way, and she could swoop in and become the queen of all the ghouls.
Right, but also she couldn't do it herself. Right, but there were good reasons why she couldn't execute either one of those two.
Oh, absolutely,
losing power, losing face.
Mm-hmm. But I still think that kind of ties into what I said. Kat wanted both those people gone. So did Marie. If Kat said for any reason, oh no, I don't want to hurt Gregor, that was my, she would have been like, bitch, what are you talking about? Right? She would not be.
She would have gone to plan B. She would have gone to plan B.
Right. That's what I'm saying. She is going to do what she needs to do as long as it's in her interest. And she will pivot and change if that does not align. And I believe she is that way. Yeah. And I mean, if it works for Kat, great. Then she could support her girl, right? She could support another strong woman. But if it doesn't work, I feel like she would change.
I feel like she would go neutral, but I don't know that I would expect her to go up against Kat explicitly. So, but I think she would step out of it in a heartbeat and just be like, I can't
help you,
because she's done that a couple times. She's like, well, if Gregor proves that you guys were married, then by law, I have to be on his side. So don't let that happen.
Don't let him prove it. Without saying that, she says it without saying it.
Right.
She is like, she could be a lawyer. She's very good. She says she's checking the boxes, but hey, her hands are clean. She has not done anything.
And she's got plan B and plan C and plan D up her sleeve, right? If Kat didn't make it work, she would have had some other patsy lined up to take out Gregor, right?
Yeah, same with Apollyon, probably. She would have figured out something else to get rid of him. But I think that's what makes her such a fun character. For someone that's not even on the page a whole lot, she's got a lot of stuff going on with her that is interesting and fun to talk about, even though we don't see her every other page.
Yep.
I'd love to see a spin-off series with her. or just the book about her life.
Yeah.
And how she killed her husband, Jacques, and has now renamed every other lover Jacques.
So who's going to come along and steal Marie's heart?
Not Tate. Please, God, not Tate.
No, it's going to... Oh, Tate's too weak for her. Tate is. She would chew him and spit him out, man. Whoever comes and gets her is not going to be Jacques, number whatever.
Right.
It's not going to be that.
Do you think Dave the Ghoul could? Or do you think it have to be a vampire, a master, or somebody with power?
I don't know. It's hard to tell. I don't know. She could surprise us. I feel like she'd need someone equally as powerful, but maybe not.
Oh, absolutely.
But I haven't read Mankira's book, but his mate, what was her name? Kira. She didn't strike me as being uber powerful, right?
She was human, and it's been a while since I've read her book, but his powers don't work on her. Okay. So when they first met, she was a police detective, and something happened, and she figured out vampires existed, and he tried to erase her mind, or erase her memory, and it didn't work.
Okay.
So she has some powers too before she turned into a vampire.
I'm just saying, I think she needs somebody that will stand up to her, but doesn't necessarily have to be somebody who is as paranormally powerful, that has powers to equal her.
But see, I do think they need to be paranormal. I can't imagine her getting with a human.
Oh no, not a human.
I can't see it. The way she lives her life, you expect a human to just ride with that? I don't know.
I'd never seen her.
She lives underground, basically.
You don't know that. She just has her meetings underground.
Shit, she lived down there. Why are you playing?
I just never say never is all I'm saying. my way of looking at it. So it's all about how the author makes it happen, right? So
yeah.
So Dave is, I don't know that he has enough personality right now for me to say that could work, but so he would have to be built up quite a lot to be a match for her, I think, but I wouldn't rule it out.
I mean, Juan's the only other person who's single and has a lot of personality, but he's just such a player and a young vampire that it would not work.
It would be interesting, though. I see. He's more interesting to me than Dave. Maybe just because he is that kind of slut,
Yeah. Oh yeah. I want Juan to get a book. Out of all the people,
if he gets a book, I want him to be himself. I don't feel like every person needs to be paired up. I'm okay with him being a slut. It could be fun to read.
He seems like a perpetual secondary character to me.
Yeah, I mean, this is not BDB. Every single person doesn't need a mate.
Maybe it's a menage book. And he ends up with 2 or 3 girls.
Maybe he's polyamorous all of a sudden. That could be fun.
That would suit his personality.
Yep.
Or he has his own little.
Don't say harem.
I wasn't going to say harem. I was going to say as a vampire, he starts. He has his own family, or his own line.
Ooh.
Fast forward 100 years, and he's got a dozen vampires, and they're all sluts together.
Oh my god! If nothing else, it would be fun to read. If nothing else.
Yeah, maybe it could rival chapter 32.
Maybe. I'm sure. Honestly, I'm sure it would surpass it. I can't imagine Juan's shenanigans not beating chapter 32. I can't.
Cat's almost a prude compared to Juan.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, his sex scenes.
Cat's totally a prude compared to Juan, or at least she was in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
She still tries to blush now, but she's getting over it slowly. She needs
Blushing isn't so bad.
I mean, she was young when the whole thing started. She was, 19? At the beginning of the first book. She's like 27 now.
Yeah.
I think so.
We talked about this before.
We have.
Look, as long as it's fresh, it's fun. No one wants to be all like, I've done everything, the shit's boring. Nothing can surprise me, because that's not fun either.
No.
So that's not Bones, thank God.
Yeah. Right?
Nothing really surprises him.
It's just, 400 years of practice.
He's only at 200.
Is it 200?
Yeah, he's only 200 and something.
Okay.
But he reads much more powerful because of the merging he had with Mancaries.
Mm-hmm.
So he's got that power boost going. So he's got all of that.
Yeah. I did like, we talked about Veritas for a second, but I did like that line she delivered when they were taking Apollyon down. She's like, Joan of Arc was my friend.
Oh, yeah.
Veritas is very, very old.
Mm-hmm.
Very old. And when you figure out who her damn daddy is, oh, shit.
Oh, damn. All right, I'm going to have to go read those books soon.
Yeah. You've got to, because you're like, wow, she's another level. She's I don't want to say anything.
Okay. Well, that's cool.
But I did say one thing that I found pretty awful and funny about this book was the whole ghost repellent of weed and garlic.
Oh, God.
Oh, God.
Gross.
God.
Disgusting. You've got to reek to high hell. I'm sorry.
And it's not just like a little bit. It's packets and packets and a ton of it. And I almost expect her to put like a necklace of garlic on.
It's a repellent to everyone. Okay, not just the ghosts. Everyone.
I want to know how Janine came up with that. Like, is there any lore or specific stuff to that and ghosts?
I'm thinking it was just funny.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe she was eating a brownie when she thought of it.
I don't blame her.
I don't know.
It was interesting that when these books were published, it was illegal everywhere, right? And it was referenced a couple times about it being illegal, and a lot of places it would not be anymore. So.
Yeah.
Yay, progress!
Exactly. I don't know. What else did you guys think was pretty interesting about this installment?
Well, we got to talk about the ghosts. And her
ghost
power.
Before we talk about like the ghost overall, I thought that scene where she and Vlad went out and she tried to like pull the remnants fiasco, and then they get back and Carrie's like,
how'd it go?
Basically I knew what you guys were going to do, so I just made it easier for you.
She's like, I set this up for you.
Yeah. I'm like, ugh.
Well, the part where she tries to knock herself out was kind of weird. I mean, I didn't know whether to laugh or think it was really stupid.
A little bit of both. Honestly, I was like, girl, why? What is...
Because that's what happened last time, is like they didn't go away until she went unconscious.
Yeah, I guess.
And then when Bones finds out about it, she's like, what? I didn't get the case of the sluts. It was fine. Nothing bad happened after.
We're good.
Yeah, we're good. Nothing happened. Don't worry.
Yeah, I was hungry for food.
Which was crazy. Which was crazy after the first time, dealing with that whole thing. She like just wanted to just bang all day and all night, anybody, anywhere. Yeah. I'm like, what the hell? And she awakes and she's like, what happened? I was like, oh my God.
Almost like so here I go again. Everything comes back to the Black Dagger Brotherhood, right? When the female vampires go into their kneading and just like chew the guy up and spit him out.
Yeah.
They walk out like 20 pounds lighter and bow-legged and
yes. They are worn out. They can barely live. Like, oh, give me some blood. I need blood. Oh, it was hilarious. But at least it wore off. So that was just
2 days.
Yeah, for 2 days. And supposedly it won't ever happen again. It was just so overpowerful or
weird,
overwhelming the first time.
Yeah. Which is strange.
She accosted the tourist in the French Quarter.
Poor guy.
Bones is like, oh no, he was pretty happy about it.
Yeah, no, it's fine. He was fine. I can't
but
imagine.
Bones just sitting there smoking a cigarette. And he's like,
I earned this.
Yes, I did. I worked hard for this cigarette, man. You're not going to tell me nothing.
You don't know what I did for the last 2 days.
Yeah. Which that was funny. But I'm glad we didn't get 2 days worth of sex in the book. That probably would have been exhausting.
Yeah. No, it's better to recap and just move forward.
Yeah. All kind of crazy sex. That's insane to me. But okay.
Great.
Sure. Let's do it.
Again.
Again.
Bring me some blood.
Oh my gosh. So that was interesting at the end, though, where Kat finally figured out, oh, I can use all these ghosts to do the hunting for me. It's like a light went off, and she's like gathering and gathering and gathering. And what, she passes out, or she like goes into a trance. That's what it was. And
yeah, she's like crying and smiling and just so peaceful. And
and he's like, I've been trying to get your attention for like 10 minutes. Like, what's happening? Like, I guess that could be scary.
Oh, for sure. Like, are you going to come back or not?
Yeah.
I thought it was a little weird that it took her so long to think of that when she'd been using Fabian like the entire time for the exact same thing.
Well, but he's more sentient than most of them, right? So most of the ghosts don't have the ability to really interact and do stuff, right?
Moonshine Ghost does, and he came back. Remember him? From
Yes.
Panty snatching alcoholic ghost from the cemetery.
Yep.
Panty diving.
Panty diving, yes.
And Bones is like, I'm going to exercise you now.
Yeah.
Like,
he's like standing there like, you're dead. Like, I'm like, get you.
Dead,
don't even think about it.
Yeah.
She didn't think about it. That was what Marie told her, right?
Yeah.
Like, how do you think that we found Gregor? How did he escape?
Yeah, it took her a minute to put all the pieces of the puzzle together.
Yeah.
And she
wasn't interesting
by anything else.
Yeah. I thought it was interesting that we didn't know what Marie told her until the end. It was just like she was kind of mumbled something, and we got, I don't know if Kat even really heard it or if it was something that she finally, like, her brain woke up to that comment that Marie made much later. What did you guys think?
The second one. I think, the second thing you said. She heard it, but just didn't really hear it because she was so overwhelmed. And then she went through her 2-day fuck fest. And after that, she can't think of anything else.
Well, some time went by, right, in between that, because that was when Dave was doing his recon. And
it's been several weeks before she remembered it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to ask our resident timekeeper, how much time passed in this book?
Several weeks. It dragged out forever. And she just kept like, next week, the week after. It's been another week of, research and hanging out in Memphis and looking for people. And here's another week and another week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just glad this whole Apollyon thing was done because I'm like, ugh. Like, I just
after the build-up from the last book to this book and how he killed Joan of Arc and, did all this shit, he turned out to be such a...
Nothing.
I
do think that was crazy how in the last minute, like somebody that is so powerful, so like charismatic that he convinced all these people
700 years old.
Yeah. He's like, I give up. I turn myself into, the council. You can't hurt me. And like, what? Like, what are you trying to get out of this, you sleaze bucket? Okay. It was really pathetic.
Yeah, I get it. And I like the twist on the villain, but I didn't like it with his character specifically because there was so much build up and because, he was so old and because there was so much. Like, he killed Joan of Arc. And now he's just sniveling at your feet, begging for mercy. No.
I feel like his power was more political. Like, it doesn't seem like the ghouls get more powerful, like they can do stuff or be more dangerous by being older. Am I wrong about that? Like what
I don't
ghouls?
know.
No, I think they are what they are. I don't
Ghouls
think
don't really have any powers, right? Except that they're undead.
They're strong, right? They're strong.
Yeah, I think they're just strong.
Like physically strong.
Yeah.
And they come back from most injuries, right? The only thing you can do you have to behead them to get rid of them.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think. I mean, his power was more political, and when they kind of cut him off from those things, and you know, I'm not remembering the specifics at this point, but they kind of let the air out of his tires, you know, in terms of making the rest of the ghouls or vampires afraid of Cat, right?
Kind of. I mean, it was just a big fight. She hit him, then he just starts begging for mercy, and she's all like, "Here, take this sword and fight me." And he's like, "No, never." And it's just like, really? Really? Like, I can appreciate the humor in it, but can we do this with a different villain? Can this guy at least have some balls? Some gumption?
Yeah.
He has
none.
Yeah, even her father was better than that.
Yeah. And her father was weak and young and awful, and, you know.
Mm-hmm. Well, he's gone now. He's gone now. Which is good. So now we can be off to the next situation, which is going to be interesting. But the very end of the book, you know, we're coming to the end here, and guess who shows back up in the in the 9th hour? And it's funny because Kat thinks she sees Don, but she thinks it's her own imagination. And then Bones is like, "My bloody whatever," he says.
What bloody hell?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's like, "What? You see that too?" And we're like, "Oh my God, Don, whatever your name is, get the hell back here right now." She pulled him back. Get back here.
You may not be a ghoul, but guess what?
You're a ghost. Congratulations.
And guess who can control them right now? Get your ass back here. So that would be interesting to see what he has to say about that.
And I had totally forgotten that from the first readings.
I'm like, why didn't you go into the light? Go into the light. Why you gotta come back?
He wanted to so badly.
Yeah.
He doesn't have anybody waiting there, does he? I mean, it's not like he had a wife or
kids.
But
it's weird. He didn't want to be supernatural. He didn't want to be a vampire. He didn't want to be a ghoul. He was like, no, you guys can't do any of this stuff to me. But I guess he was okay being a ghost. I wouldn't want to be a ghost either. If I didn't want to be paranormal anything, I wouldn't want to be a ghost.
Did he know about him? I guess did they tell him about their pet ghost? What's his name?
I think so. Fabian.
But
I don't.
Fabian.
I want to say Fabio, but
Fabio.
There's an at the end. I know it's not Fabio, but I want to call him Fabio. I don't remember if they explicitly told him, because they were trying to like keep stuff quiet and away from him after Kat quit.
I can't remember if there were. I don't remember. So maybe he didn't really know it was a possibility.
Maybe. I don't know, but now he's stuck with them forever until he decides to go off on his own, I guess.
Go into the light.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which is going to be another tearjerker moment. Bye, Don. Oh, see, look, I'm being sarcastic now, but that's how I feel. Like, okay.
You made us cry once, so you're going to make us cry again.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know, Nicola. Did you have something you wanted to say before I made my little rude comment?
No. I'm so offended that you said something sarcastic, Tamara. Oh my God.
Sarcasm.
What do you think I am?
Just saying. I'm trying not to be mean on the characters, but I'm like, okay, don't give me one more sad song. I just don't want it. So, anywho. Anything else, guys? How long have we been talking about for this book? Should we be rating it by now? How long have we been?
Probably.
Wrap up.
Okay, any last thoughts before we rate it?
I was just going to say, flipping to the very beginning, I love that little intro.
Mm-hmm.
I love Janine's intros, how she just plays with the words and she's fighting the vampire and she's like, oh, he's a master, he's so strong. But it's just bones and they're having fun and like role playing their lives with each other all over again. I was like, this is just so cute. Great way to reintroduce them.
Most people wouldn't think a cave is a romantic place to hang out, but I loved it.
I love it. And let's get freaky on the rock floor. Yeah.
Sounds uncomfortable.
Well, they're vampires. They probably don't feel it like that.
They jump into 40-degree rivers and think
ice in their hair.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're probably like, oh, I need the rocks to feel something, probably. That's why they do it so hard. Like, they can't even feel regular touches, probably. That's why they go for broke like they do.
I was watching a scene on TV where there was a tree involved, and it was just like, and she was naked, and I was just like, ow.
Against the
ow,
tree?
ow, ow. Yeah.
No, good. No.
That sounds like something else I remember talking shit about. A tree.
Yeah. I mean, it's different. When I'm reading it, it seems a little different. When I'm seeing it, I'm just going, ow. That looks
I'm thinking splinters in my butt cheeks. Like, no, this is not
bark.
Bark, scrape, knees. No.
Scrapey. Yeah. Maybe not as bad as a brick wall, but not great.
It's all bad. It's all bad. I mean, scratches on your back, black bleeding. You're probably going to have some bleeding going on back there. No, thank you. Nope, hard pass. Nope. Not sexy.
Do it.
But you know me. I just like contemporary things like, controlled temperature, a bed. Not being
I know where you were
on.
going with contemporary things.
Yeah. These modern luxuries that make, doing the deed more fun
Heats.
And relaxing. Yes, heat and
showers,
air in the summer and
all that. Cool Vlad stuff? Who has silk sheets. Vlad.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah. Vlad knows what's up.
Actually, speaking of those, I find those very uncomfortable, by the way.
Really?
I'm like, yeah, I do.
I've never tried them.
I haven't either.
Or if they're satin or something, it's very uncomfortable and very not good for the heat temperature control. It's just too much.
Oh, no.
Good to know.
I'm just saying, learn from me. Don't do it.
Okay. I'll stay away.
Duly noted, Tamara.
Stay away from Vlad.
I gave you that tip for free.
And tree bark, but okay. I'll stay away from both.
Yes. You'll thank me later.
I will.
All right, let's rate this thing, guys. Let's start with some positivity. Nicola, how about you go first?
Well, now I can't hardly give it a 5. After all the stuff you guys said, but I did enjoy reading it, and I did like it as much or more than the last couple of books. So it's at least a 4, maybe a 5.
Okay, Casey,
I give it a solid 4 stars. Oh my god, you guys, I'm sorry. I love it. It's Cat and Bones, and yeah, I'm picking at it and annoyed with it, but I love the series.
Okay,
so 4 stars.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna be the Debbie Downer. I'm gonna do it. When I first finished the book, and I was like, ugh. I went to Goodreads and I saw the first time I gave it 5 stars. I'm like, damn, I enjoyed that the first time around. What the hell's going on? But now it's a 3. It's a 3. I was like, I could have skipped it and went to the next book. But I still love Cat and Bones. I know it will bounce back and I will be happy days again. But this particular installment, I was like, it was fine. It wasn't bad. It wasn't good. It was fine, right in the middle. So there, I did it. Do not come for me, people. Do not come for me. We all have our opinion.
Lots of garlic and weed. He'll repel everybody.
Right. I will stock up on that stuff, okay, and throw it at you. So do not come for me.
Oh my God.
Throwing that at people, it's expensive.
No, I know. The garlic isn't, but I don't really buy weed, so I don't know. I guess I'll find out how expensive if y'all try me. Don't come for me. And calm everybody down. There we go.
You need a new header on your blog, Tamara.
No.
Something leafy.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I kind of feel bad about giving it the 3, but that's my honest to goodness reaction. And I feel like even talking about
start
it
writing
hasn't
the number
changed.
down before I come and talk to you guys, just so that I can stand firm.
I get it.
And I can just do the reveal, like.
Well, you guys have to be on Patreon to see what Nicola just did. So Patreon people, you have the one up to see what she just did. All right, so I guess that is all for today. Is that it, you guys?
That's it.
I think so.
Okay, so again, for you guys in the Facebook group, don't leave without letting us know what you thought about the conversation and what you rated the book. And of course, for those of you interested in the after show, stay tuned. We're going to jump into that. So until next time, happy reading. Take care, everyone.
Happy reading.
Everybody.
If you enjoyed today's book chat episode and would like to show your support, there are a few things you can do. Head on over to Apple Podcasts and leave a positive 5-star review. You can follow me on Twitter at Shelf Addiction. Most importantly, you can share this podcast with friends and family that enjoy all things bookish, including author interviews. Thank you for listening, and until next time, happy reading.